Merry Christmas Yogis! You're all very welcome in joining me for today's Feel Good Festive Flow. But before we get started, I'd like to take a moment to thank all of you for the love and positivity I've received over the course of the past year. Your continued support means the world to me, and to see our humble channel go from strength to strength is testament to the passion of each and every single one of you. So here's to a magical and Merry Christmas. We'll start today's practice coming into a child's pose, bringing the big toes to touch, sitting back towards our heels and walking our arms out long on the mat as we melt our forehead down towards the ground. We'll just take the next few moments to bring ourselves into our practice by bringing ourselves onto the mat and into our body. As we begin to notice the breath, we begin to slow and deepen the breath, drawing your awareness to how the body feels. And we'll begin to slide our hands back behind the lower back as we interlace the fingers and draw the knuckles away from you. Maybe beginning to draw the knuckles up towards the sky. Getting a little bit deeper into the shoulders, stretching through the arms, releasing any of that tension, any of that stress. And we'll release the hands back down and bring our hands either side of the face to press ourselves up to seated. And from here, we'll bring ourselves through tabletop. And we're going to make our way down into puppy pose. So we want to keep our knees stacked under the hips and slide the arms out long on the mat, dropping down onto the chin or onto the forehead and melting your chest down towards the ground. Stretching out through the arms and down through the sides of the body. And staying with your breath, those deep inhales and long exhales. And we'll begin to come out of the pose by hovering the body forward and coming down through Sphinx. So our forearms will be in line under our shoulders and we'll walk our feet nice and far apart. Lift and lengthen through the chest, and on an inhale, we'll make our way into seal by lifting the forearms away from the mat and dropping our head back. Exhale, release back down to Sphinx, drop the head. We'll float through that again. Inhale, lifting the forearms away from the mat, drop the head back, seal pose. Exhale, back into Sphinx, drop the gaze, drop the head. Inhale, floating back up. And exhale, sinking into Sphinx, beginning to move with your own breath while you find some fluid movement through the body. Last round, inhale, lift the forearms, drop the head back. Exhale, back down into Sphinx pose. And from here, we're going to point our right fingers over to the left side of the mat. Begin to look over the left shoulder as you pick up the left leg. We'll begin to extend the left arm pointing towards that leg. If you can take hold of the inside of the foot, great. Take hold and begin to kick that foot into the hand to open the chest a little bit more. Allow the gaze to follow. And we'll bring the gaze back down towards the mat while we flip the grip so our fingers are pointing up towards the toes and we're drawing our heel closer towards the body. Watch the lower back, make sure you're not feeling any sharp pains. Remember to breathe in these deep poses. And we'll gently release. Bring the left hand back down onto the mat. And from here, we're going to begin to come onto the right side of the body. We bend the right knee, kick it back, and we'll begin to take hold of the inside of the left foot. Maybe taking hold of the heel or the shin or to wherever you can. And we'll begin to straighten and bend the left leg. Working with the breath, on an inhale we straighten, and on an exhale we bend. Inhale, straighten, keeping the chest nice and open. Exhale, bending, getting deeper into the hips. Inhale, straighten through the leg. Exhale, bending into the knee. And we'll release. Rolling back onto our bellies. We're going to make our way and work through the next side. Starting out in Sphinx pose, walk the feet nice and wide to support the lower back. We'll point the left fingers over towards the right side of the mat now. Pick up the right foot, draw the right hand back, maybe taking hold of the foot, maybe just pointing the hand in that direction. Allow the gaze to follow, looking towards the foot, open through the chest. And we'll take it a little bit deeper by flipping the grip, fingers pointing towards the toes, as we draw the heel closer towards the body. And after your next exhale, we'll begin to release nice and slowly. And like we did on the last side, we'll begin to come on to the left hip this time. Kicking the left foot back, extend the right foot long. Begin to look towards the foot as we take hold of the inside of the right leg. Point the toes high, straighten through the leg on the inhale. Exhale, bend through the knee. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, bending, getting a lovely deep stretch through the hamstring, through the hips. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, bending. And inhale, lift and lengthen, stretching through the foot. Exhale. And we'll begin to release, coming back around onto our bellies. Coming back to our Sphinx pose. We'll plant one hand on top of the other. We're going to walk the elbows wide and drop and release our forehead down towards our hands. And just take a moment to release and let go of the lower back. We worked really deep into those muscles, so we want to make sure that we're not taking any stress or any tension away from the mat today. We'll gently make our way back up through tabletop, hands in line under the shoulders, knees in line under the hips, and we'll flow through a few rounds of cat-cow. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the heart and gaze. Exhale, round through the spine, look towards the knees. Inhale, opening up into cow, lift the heart and gaze, tailbone reaches high. Exhale, rounding as you drop the gaze. Inhale, drop the belly, cow pose. Look forward. And exhale, rounding into cat, pressing the shoulder blades away from one another. And inhale, back to cow. Coming back through tabletop, we'll untuck the toes if you had them tucked. We're going to step the right foot in between the hands, coming into a low lunge. Maybe planting the hands down onto the mat or staying high on the fingers if you need a little bit more space. And we're going to drop the hips forward and down. On an inhale, begin to sweep the arms up and overhead, looking back towards the back of the room. Keep that nice back bend as we bring our hands back down and take hold of the right knee. So we're keeping a nice arch through the spine. And inhale, release the arms back up, drawing them back down towards the mat. Bringing your hands to the inside of the right foot, we're coming down through lizard pose now. You could walk the right foot out towards the corner of the mat for more space for the hips. We'll begin to tuck our toes under as we lift the knee away from the mat. Pressing deeply into the left heel. Getting a lovely stretch through the back of the leg. From here, we're going to see if we can take a bind by bringing the right hand under the right leg, bring it towards the lower back, and begin to lift the left hand away from the mat. Bring it towards the lower back. Maybe interlacing the fingers or just taking hold of the back at the top, and see if you can balance using the strength of your legs. Keep the gaze looking down towards the mat, keeping a nice neutral spine. Lovely, and we'll begin to release, plant both hands back down onto the mat. And release the knee back down, nice and gently. We'll heel toe the right foot back in line under the knee. And coming up onto the fingers, shift the hips back, and we'll bring the right knee to meet the left. And we'll plant through the hands. Inhale, dropping the belly into cow. Exhale, rounding into cat. And inhale, opening through to cow. Tailbone reaching high, gaze looking forward. Exhale, rounding into cat. Inhale, dropping the belly into cow. And we'll come back to tabletop. Untuck the toes once again, and we'll take it to the next side, stepping the left foot in between the hands this time, coming into our low lunge. Dropping the hips forward and down, and allow the chest to sink on top of the knee. And on an inhale, we'll sweep our arms up and overhead, finding that gentle back bend. Keep the gaze where it is. We'll take hold of the knee, interlace the fingers as we drop our head back, open through the chest, breathing deeply. Draw the arms back up, sending them back down to frame the front foot. From here, we'll take it deeper now into our hips, heel toe the left foot over to the corner of the mat. Bring the hands into the inside of the left foot, coming into our lizard pose. Take a few breaths here. We'll tuck the toes under on the right foot as we lift the knee away from the mat. Pressing deeply into the right heel. Finding your strength now between both legs. And coming down, we're going to take our bind from here. We'll bring our left hand behind, resting towards the lower back, and bring the right hand back to meet the left. Find your balance, find your strength. And remember to breathe and smile in these poses. If you fall out, you can always come back in. And we'll begin to release out of our bind, release the arms back towards the mat. Planting through the hands. And nice and gently, we're going to rest the right knee back down onto the mat. We'll heel toe the left foot back in line under the knee. And step the left foot to meet the right back into tabletop. And take a few more rounds of cat-cow just to make sure we're not creating any tension. We're not taking anything unnecessary away from this practice today. Inhale, drop the belly, lifting into cow. Exhale, rounding true to cat pose. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the heart and gaze, tailbone reaches high. And we'll bring the big toes to touch, and from here, send the hips towards the heels. Arms stretch out in front of you, melting back into a child's pose. Allow the body to relax and release. Soften through the shoulders and soften through the hips. Now we'll begin to come out of our child's pose, looking towards our hands. And slide the hands back towards the body. From here, we're just going to swing our legs over towards one side and bring our feet out in front of us. We're going to make our way down onto our backs. Extend your arms long away from you. As slowly as you can, tuck the tailbone under and begin to lower one vertebrae at a time down towards the mat, keeping the lower belly drawing in, supporting the lower spine. And when you make it there, we'll draw the knees in towards the belly, taking hold of either knee, allowing the legs to rest heavy towards the body. And we'll plant both feet back down onto the mat. We're going to bring our arms into cactus, bending at the elbows, palms facing the sky, coming into a twist. We'll drop the knees over to the right and bring the gaze over to the left, twisting from the belly, allowing the chest to open, creating more space for the breath to flow. And drawing your awareness back to your breath, to those deep inhales and those long exhales. Draw the gaze back to center. And nice and slowly we'll bring the knees back up. And we'll take our twist now over to the next side. So we'll begin to drop the knees over to the left as we draw the gaze to look over to the right. Allow the knees to hang heavy. Allow the body to begin to relax and let go. Releasing any of that holiday tension or stress. Not worried about any plans, any to-do lists. Just noticing how you feel right now. And we'll bring our head back to center. Nice and slowly bring the knees back up. Draw the knees back in towards the belly, giving them a nice embrace. From here, we'll take a happy baby pose. So we drop our knees over towards the sides of the body as we bend into the legs, maybe taking hold of the outside of the feet, or to the ankles or the shins or the back of the knees, wherever you can take a hold of. And begin to release and relax through the lower back. Maybe rocking side to side if you want to bring a little bit of movement into your happy baby. Getting a nice massage, the lower back, the lower spine. As you stretch and release into the hips. Begin to bring the soles of the feet together as you drop the feet as they are down towards the mat. Drop the knees wide, making our way into Baddha Konasana. Bring the hands down to the lower part of the belly and make a little diamond shape out of the hands, bringing the index finger and the thumb together. And begin to release and relax. Release it all, any effort, any worries, any plans, and fully let go. Keeping the awareness with your breath. keeping your awareness in this present moment. And from here, we'll bring our hands to the outsides of the knees as we draw our legs together. We're going to slide our legs long away from us and bring ourselves into our Shavasana, into our final resting pose. I encourage you to stay here as long as you can and enjoy this moment. But for today, this is where I'll leave you. I hope you enjoyed this class and I wish you all a very Merry Christmas. Namaste.